All right, let's talk about a problem that I know keeps a lot of business leaders up at night. You have this brilliant strategic idea, but how do you actually make it happen? And I mean fast, without getting totally stuck in some technical bottleneck. Well, that's exactly what we're digging into today.
You know the feeling, right? You've got a game-changing plan. Maybe it's a new tool for your customers or a way to streamline an internal process. But then reality hits. It needs custom software, and the development queue is, well, it's months, sometimes even years long. And you just know that by the time it gets built, the opportunity might have vanished. So what do you do?
Well, there is an alternative. It's a really powerful new approach that puts the control right back where it belongs, in the hands of business strategists. It's called the no-code project method, and honestly, it's all about letting you move at the speed of your ideas.
So what exactly is a no-code MCP? Okay, so MCP stands for Minimum Viable Product, which is a huge concept and strategy. But the no-code part is the game changer. It means you're using these visual drag-and-drop tools to build a working version of your idea. You're not writing lines and lines of code, you're visually piecing together a solution. So you can quickly, and I mean quickly, test if your big idea actually works in the real world.
And when you put the two paths side by side like this, the difference is just wow. The old way is slow, it's incredibly expensive up front, and you have to hand your vision over to specialist developers and just kind of hope they get it right. The no-code strategy is the complete opposite. It's fast, it's cheap to get started, and, this is the big one, it's led by the actual business people who came up with the idea.
Now, this is a super important point. This is not about getting rid of developers. Not at all. It's about empowerment. It's about giving the strategists, the marketers, the operations folks the tools they need to build and test their own ideas. This actually frees up your amazing, skilled developers to work on the really deep, complex, heavy lifting stuff that only they can do. Okay, so the idea sounds great, right? But how do you actually do it? You can't just jump in randomly. That's where having a solid framework, a repeatable process, makes all the difference. And here it is. It's a simple 4-step roadmap. First, you have to diagnose the real problem you're trying to solve. Then, you design a super simple blueprint for the solution. Only then do you actually start building with no-code tools. And finally, and you could argue this is the most important step, you test it with real users, you tweak it based on their feedback, and then you figure out how to scale it up.
Let's zoom in on step 1 for a second. Diagnose. Seriously, before you build a single thing, you need to be crystal clear. What is the user's biggest headache? How will you even know if you've succeeded? What should their journey feel like from start to finish? And maybe most critically, what is the one single absolute must-have feature? Getting that focus from the get-go is everything. Okay, so after you've designed your blueprint in step 2, you get to the fun part, the build. The trick here is picking the right tool. You have to ask yourself, what's my core need? Am I building a website, a complex app, or just connecting different tools? That answer will point you to platforms like Webflow or Bubble or maybe Zapier. Then you build only that core function you identified. Remember, the goal isn't a perfect, polished product. The goal is to get a working prototype in front of real people as fast as humanly possible to get their feedback. That feedback is gold. All right, theory is one thing, but let's see how this actually plays out. Let's make it real with a quick, tangible example. Does this sound familiar to anyone? An operations manager has a fantastic idea for a customer portal. It's going to improve everything. The problem? They go to IT, and the backlog is a year long. A full year. The business could change completely in that time. So what did they do? They used the framework. Step 1, diagnose. They figured out the single biggest customer frustration was just not knowing where their order was. That's it. So for step 2, design, they didn't try to boil the ocean. They blueprinted a dead simple interface, a login page and one screen. And that one screen just showed real-time order status, nothing else. And this is where the magic happens. For step 3, they picked a no-code platform that was perfect for building customer portals. And instead of waiting 12 months, they built and launched a fully functional, secure prototype in just 3 weeks. So what was the result? Well, first off, customers loved it. But the number that really made the leadership team's jaws drop was this one: an 80% reduction in implementation time compared to the traditional IT route. Just think about that for a second. They proved their idea worked and delivered actual value to customers in less time than it would have taken to even get the first official project meeting on the calendar. So this example isn't just a neat little story.
It's a signpost. It's pointing to a much bigger shift in how modern companies are going to have to operate to stay competitive. It's about building a whole new muscle for business agility. So how can you get started with this? It's pretty simple, actually. Find one, just one, important project that's stuck in a tech bottleneck. Then do a little homework on the no-code platforms that could solve that problem. Propose a small, low-risk pilot project. Then you just measure everything. If it works, you suddenly have this powerful internal success story you can use to get more people on board. To really grasp how big of a deal this is, it helps to zoom out and look at history. Every 20 years or so, there's this huge shift in business tech. We went from giant mainframes to PCs on every desk, then to cloud computing. And each one of those shifts made technology a little more accessible. Well, we are right now, today, entering the next big one, the no-code era. And this one is all about giving the power to create to pretty much everyone. So at the end of the day, what does this all mean? No-code isn't just a new kind of software. It's a whole new way of thinking. It truly democratizes innovation. That means great ideas can come from anywhere in your company and be brought to life fast. For any business that's serious about digital transformation, this isn't a nice-to-have anymore. It's becoming a fundamental skill for survival. So I'll just leave you with this final thought. Think about your own team, your own company, your own goals. What's that one project, that one idea, that one strategic leap that you always dismissed as being too hard, too expensive, or too slow to build? What if it's suddenly within your reach? What could you finally unlock?